I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Today we're taking a first look at the DOS QD, also known as a DOS Quiet Drive. What is it? What makes it different than the previous version of the DOS, and does it live up to the Quiet Drive name? Well, let's jump in and have a look. First thing to notice about the DOS QD, comes in a black enclosure. This is different than the previous version of the DOS, which comes in a silver enclosure. So for your OCD, you have two doses, you can't handle the black one being next to the silver one because a mismatch drives you crazy. I'm sorry, there's more to life. It's not that big of a deal, but if you can't handle it, get help. For everyone else, let's move on with the review. A couple of things that the DOS QD and the previous version have in common is that the footprint is exactly the same. That means the mounting holes on the back line up perfectly. If you have these in any kind of an enclosure for your mounting system, then the new one's going to slide in exactly where the old one was, and the ports on the side are exactly the same. That means if you have the previous version, you want to upgrade to the new version, you just unplug this one, plug it into this one, which is very nice, makes it very easy. Included with the DOS QD is a one-link cable, which means this one cable is going to power and control your DOS QD. You can eliminate the Aquabus cable, eliminate the power brick to power the DOS QD, which is nice because it's going to make your installation very simple. One plug gets it done and very clean. You get rid of that power brick underneath or around your tank, which are always a pain. Every time I open a box and I see a power brick, I'm like, okay, yes, there are mounting solutions for them. Sometimes you're just going to have to use a power brick, but one-link cable is included, which is going to make that installation very clean and very simple. Happy about that. It's notable that the DOS QD can run up to 25 mils a minute in continuous duty operation. That means it continuously dose up to 25 mils a minute, 24 hours a day without taxing the pump. The priming buttons on the front are now backlift with left and right indicators, and the Neptune Systems logo lights up on the left side or the right side depending on which side you're dosing, which is a nice touch. The biggest upgrade with the DOS QD is that it is a quiet drive pump. Therefore, Neptune Systems says that this DOS is much to the factor of 100 times quieter than the previous version of the DOS, especially when you're running it at a higher speed, like if you're doing an automatic water change or you need to dose a lot of an element. So, to put that to the test, let's get some decibel ratings here next to my tank. Let's hook up the DOS QD, make it dose some things at a higher setting, and then compare it to the old version of the DOS and see just how quieter it is. Here's the decibel rating in my room. Now I've left all the pumps on my tank. I've left the return pump on to simulate what it's like when my tank is up and running. So this is our baseline. Neptune Systems says that the quiet zone for the DOS QD is up to 60 mils a minute. So what I've done is told the DOS to dose 600 mils over 10 minutes, which comes out to 60 mils a minute. I'm going to do this with the quiet drive DOS, and I'm going to do the same thing with the old version of the DOS to compare decibel levels. Here's the decibel reading when the version 1 DOS doses 60 mils in a minute. And then here's the decibel reading when the DOS QD doses 60 mils in a minute. Hardly noticeable. What's my thoughts on the DOS QD? Should you go on and buy the new version if you have the previous version of the DOS? If you have an issue with the noise emitted from the previous version of the DOS when it's running at a higher setting, the DOS QD certainly solves that problem. When it was running at 60 mils a minute, which is the highest level of the quiet zone that Neptune Systems has on the DOS QD, I could hardly hear it running with my ear when it was sitting next to me. I couldn't hear it at all when it was underneath the tank. So it's going to solve the noise problem if that bothers you about their previous version of the Neptune Systems DOS. Now, if you have the old DOS, you don't have any issues with the noise, should you go right out and buy the DOS QD? If you're the new guy, like I sometimes am, you want the newest, latest, greatest, certainly it's going to get the job done, but if you don't have any complaints about your old DOS, you don't need to go buy this right now. Probably what's going to happen in time is your old DOS, when you need to replace it or you want to add more, this is going to be available. You're going to end up with a DOS QD, which is going to work great unless you're the OCD type who can't handle the silver next to the new black. And if that's you, I'm sorry. There's bigger issues in life. Take a deep breath, enjoy your tank. Don't look at the mismatch because it's not that big of a deal. I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Till next time, enjoy your tanks. Let it go. And I'll catch you in the next episode.